Penny Wong has urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to accept a ceasefire. This comes after Israel's fatal attack on Nasser Hospital, which killed 20 people, including 5 journalists. She said that the attack on the hospital was horrific and that the war in Gaza must stop. Wong also added that Netanyahu should take the advice of his own military and agree to a ceasefire. We're now joined by Peter Baum, who is the foreign editor of the Weekly Blitz, and he joins us live from London. Peter, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme. The world is reacting to this attack, which happened yesterday on the Nasser Hospital in the Gaza Strip, killing 20 people at a hospital, including 5 journalists. We've seen the relationship between Israel and Australia deteriorate over the past few weeks, including Canberra's promise to recognise a Palestinian state in September if Israel does not accept a ceasefire deal with Hamas and release the hostages and de-escalate the fighting. Wong, however, has called this attack horrific. Do you see this as a turning point in Australia's language on Israel's actions? And what do you make of the current relationship between Australia and Israel?
Yeah, good afternoon to you guys. The relationship between Australia and Israel as former allies is at an all-time low. It has never reached such depths. Clearly, the Albanese administration with Penny Wong, before they got into power, both politicians were absolutely renowned for their, let's say, pro-Palestinian stance and anti-Israel stance. And now that they are in power, they are using their elected platform to criticise Israel at every opportunity. What I thought, which was very interesting, though, was the expulsion of the Iranian ambassador to Australia, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But clearly, whilst Israel carries on with the operation in Gaza, situations like this, as has happened in the hospital, are going to occur. It will give governments like the Australian government increased opportunities to voice their manner of criticising Israel, and this will continue. But I don't think the Netanyahu government is going to pay too much stock to what Penny Wong of Australia is asking of them.
Peter, let's move on to the more specifics about the attack. This is one of the first times where Netanyahu has said that Israel has made a mistake here, targeting 5 journalists. The world saw that footage of the rescuers going to that site and helping those injured, while some people called it a double tap, killing those helping injured in the attack on Nasser Hospital. What does this mean, this messaging from Netanyahu, saying that it does regret the attack heard around the world yesterday, and it does in fact value journalists and medical workers? Some would say that its actions would prove otherwise.
Yeah, and one can clearly understand that. I'm surprised, actually, and so are some of my contacts in Israel, that Netanyahu came up so publicly in expressing his regret. By doing that, it does 2 things. It exposes the military for making, let's say, errors in this, which will put the backs up of the Israeli High Command. But more sinister was the fact that after the attack, it was known, I think about 20 people have been killed, 5 of whom were journalists, but 12 of them were definitely Hamas operatives. So clearly the journalists were working with Hamas or embedded with them, and paid a price as a result. Not only that, but the Israeli military have come out and suggested that there was fire from that very location onto Israeli armoured vehicles. Now, it was very unusual, therefore, that having had that information, Netanyahu would then go on to say and apologise for, or saying he regrets the action, that Israel have faced a public wrath, global public wrath, I should say, time after time. So it's very, very unusual for him to say this. And also, it does expose the Israeli military high command as having screwed up when clearly they believe that they didn't.
Thank you, Peter.